beginning of my musical like journey when I was in 7th grade. I think that was the time when I had actually learned that my dad was a DJ at one point, and I had just started getting into trying to learn how to literally just transition from one song to another, and I never really knew that that's what DJing was about. And then kind of my dad, and then also, well, a combination of my dad and one of my friends from Saudi, his name was Yusuf. The two of them kind of like got me into it, because Yusuf also kind of started like playing around with that at the same time as me. The big artist that kind of like started everything, like pushing everything for me, was Martin Garrix. I think he was a big one. Avicii was also a huge one for me. And I also was listening to, Skrillex and Deadmau5, so those guys kind of were like some key artists that I had started listening to that I think kind of started pushing me on the way to what music was about and why I wanted to explore making my own at some point. So the main part of the song is basically here. So these are just some chords that we had made with different layers. So those 3 layers make this, and sub bass with kick. Together it sounds. Then just added like a couple little fills here to fill up like the space between the two. Yeah. And that's how that drop was made. I think that there's definitely been a couple little milestones, I guess, that you can say that I've been able to accomplish. Like obviously, like, I try to be associated with Greek life. I feel like that's the best way to kind of like start DJing in college and get your name out there. So I've done, a lot of like sorority and fraternity things, in and outside of UCI. Like I've done other colleges as well.
For music impacting my life, it definitely plays like a huge part in like an outlet. Like a lot of the time I'm working on like hard sciences and like memorizing biology and like working on the MCAT, it's like so much time. And then like every moment that I have that I'm just doing nothing, it's like I just want to be being creative. Like I want to not be doing analytical stuff. I just want to be sitting down and working on my creative side. And like when I was a kid, I would never ever say I was creative. I was always like, oh, I'm super left-brained. I'm super like, working with science, working with numbers. And then as I've grown now, I'm like, if people ask me like, oh, what do you define yourself as? I'm much more of a creative now. Like I'm okay with saying I'm a creative, which is kind of a weird change. Ash and I first met, we were in my dorm room, me and Ethan's dorm room, and he came in and I remember like sitting on my bed together, like listening to each other's music. And that was like, that's like a cute moment. I don't know, thinking back to that, like, that was like, that was a good time. And then we lived together, and then we lived together again. Like, we're obviously super tight.
Yeah.
And like, whenever...
He's aight.
Yeah, I don't really like him. No, he's bad.
7,200, I mean, it's really hard to say, honestly. Like, when you're up there, you don't really, like, understand, like, how big of that crowd, that crowd actually is until, like, you're, like, look up, kind of, like, take everything in for a second, you're like, holy crap, like, there's 7,000 people in front of us right now.
Oh yeah, and there were moments, like specific times where like when we play certain songs that everyone would know, like we'd play like the Millennium John Bellion song that we played, like you look up and everyone's singing, or like people have like their flashlights in the air, and it's just like wow, like to do that to like 7,000 people is such like an incredible feeling.
Because everyone is on the same page at that point, everyone understands, like even though everyone might connect with the song in a different way, like everyone is able to connect with the song.
And then you watch those videos back for the next week. Like that's how like impactful it is. It's like you just sit down and watch the videos of you doing this.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
100%.
I think JPEG's a really interesting group because we all like different subgenres of EDM a lot. Like I know me, I really like house music. I'm a huge house music guy, but then Ryan's more of like a bedroom pop, chill type of guy. And Ash makes kind of a variety of everything and listens to everything. So I think just like that uniqueness of all of us liking the different genres of EDM but coming together and making one project. What was really awesome of them is they formed a music group with someone who had zero experience in making music, which was crazy. And that just showed how willing they were to teach me what they knew and it kind of just take me under their wing.
I don't even express myself through my music like all the time. It's just having this side that you don't care about. It's like I'm making this stuff and it's fun, and it's just having something that's non-mandatory in your life. It doesn't even have to be something that's like super like traditionally creative. It just has to be something that you want to do.
For me, obviously it's music, but when you have those outlets, it really just makes everything a lot easier. And I say everything just because it literally is, I mean, everything, no matter what you're going through, you know, like you can be going through, you know, like your own like state of depression. You can be going through like a difficult time with your parents, or you know, like, or a difficult time with like a move, like which is something that I had, you know, and to be able to have that outlet is always the best feeling, because it's the time where you're able to do something that you enjoy and you don't have to worry about anything else that's going on. When I'm making music and I release music and people like give me good feedback and they say they like the song, or like it's really good, and they like added it to their playlist, like that's extremely gratifying to me, because like the reason I make music is for not only for other people to enjoy it, but also for me to enjoy it. And like I want to be able, you know, I want to be able to make music that I'm willing to listen to on my free time, you know, that I put on loop and I listen to on repeat. And if I can kind of give that same effect to other people, I think that really like helps me a lot and helps me pursue trying to make more music. And just I kind of realized like I have to take it a day at a time, then a week at a time, and you know, as long as I still have the passion for it, I'm going to be able to go through with it as long as I can. And I hope that that's what I'm going to be able to do. I hope I'm going to be able to do this for a while.